Hello and welcome to today's live chat here on Life as a Cancer Survivor. My name is Jelena, and today we're going to be talking all about colonoscopies, anything from the prep to what it's like going through it. So if you have any questions right off the bat, go on ahead and plop them in the chat there for me. So when I'm done with my intro, I can go on ahead and get right into answering your questions. And since Halloween is my favorite holiday and it's only 2 days away, I decided to have a little fun with today's live stream, put on a little witch hat, got a little pumpkin back there too. We'll see if I'm okay with the hat for the entire time or if the hat comes off. So hope you guys enjoy it. Now, for anyone that's joining me for the first time, like I mentioned, my name is Jelena. I was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer in May of 2016. I went through 28 days of oral chemotherapy and radiation. Then after a little bit of a break, I had a lower anterior resection, also known as LAR surgery. For mine, they removed 12 inches of my colon/rectum and 17 lymph nodes. And to give that colon and rectum resected site a chance to heal, they gave me a temporary ileostomy. And I had that ileostomy for 7 months, including while I went through 8 rounds of FOLFOX chemotherapy. And then in June of 2017, I had that ileostomy reversed. Let's see. So before I get started, I want to let you guys know this is going to be my last live for a little bit. Most likely at least through the end of the year. I wanted to just kind of experiment with it, see how everything went, and it's been a lot of fun getting to know all of you, saying hi, answering all your questions in real time. But it's also tough finding a good time when all of you can hop on and watch, because I've got awesome viewers from all around, not just the United States, but out of the country as well. And it's kind of tough to get all of you together at once. So I'm going to take a break for a little bit. Not every video that I do also really generates a ton of questions. So something like colonoscopies, definitely. There's probably a lot of questions out there that you guys have. But all of the other videos, not necessarily. So I will still be publishing my videos regularly, though, every other week. So make sure that you're subscribed. So then you will know when I get started with the live chats again, and then when my regular videos are published. So let's get started with the colonoscopy chat. Hello. Okay. So, hi everyone. Hi Tracy. Hi Blue Omega and Caretaker John for newbies here. He is my husband, so he's in there to kind of help moderate the chat and make sure that I'm answering questions or answering stuff that I may not know. So, when we get started here, first of all, I'd like to know how many of you have had a colonoscopy? If you have, drop a little wavy hand or raisey hand, something in the chat. Let me know. And if you can remember and you want to share with us, let me know what kind of prep that you did also for your colonoscopy. So I mentioned in my video that this was the 3rd colonoscopy that I have done. And so I've done a bowel prep though for many other procedures that I had throughout my colorectal cancer treatment. So let me briefly tell you like all the preps that I've done and what they were for. So for my very first colonoscopy, which is the one where I found out that I had my cancer, I did the Miralax and Gatorade prep, but I also had to eat or drink some magnesium citrate as well. I don't know if any of you have heard of that or seen it. It's like a clear liquid. It's in a 10-ounce bottle. Then I had a rectal ultrasound that I had to do a bowel prep for. For that one, I did the Go Lightly, which is the huge jug that you might be familiar with, that you've heard from other people about. For my tumor marking procedure, I don't remember the full prep. I was looking back in my calendar because I had written down most of these preps and like what I needed to do when. All I had for that one was taking milk of magnesia. So I don't know if there was something else that went with that or if I just took the milk of magnesia the day before that procedure. For my LAR surgery, I did the Miralax and Gatorade prep minus the magnesium citrate. So just the Miralax and Gatorade and stool softeners. For my 1-year follow-up colonoscopy, I did the Suprep prep, which is smaller bottles. So it's supposed to be a little bit easier because you're not drinking as much liquid. Not so for me. And I can talk a little bit more about that up here shortly. And then this one that I just did was my 3-year follow-up colonoscopy. And that one I did the Miralax Gatorade stool softener combination again. So that's kind of a little recap on all the colonoscopies that I have done. Oh, and Poppy is here. Hello. Let's see here. Okay, so Tracy, you've done one of these colonoscopy preps before. You did the huge jug prep. Yeah, that one, it wasn't too bad. I wasn't sure what was in the flavored powder that they give you, and they said it was optional as to whether or not you wanted to put it in. So I just put water into the jug at first and poured it into my little, because you're supposed to drink like 8 ounces every 15 to 20 minutes. So I put it in the glass, the first one, and sipped it. Not recommended. Put that flavor packet in. So once I did that, it was okay. It's drinking a lot of liquid. A lot of these, it's lots of liquid. You'll feel like you're just like swimming in liquid, or you'll get like kind of bloated from drinking so much liquid in such a short period of time. So that one, it wasn't super fun, but yeah, none of them are really all that fun. Okay, Blue Omega, you want to know, did I receive my biopsy results back? Yes, they did send them back to me. They just, oh shoot. So there was the ulceration and erosions, which they thought was most likely from the colonoscopy prep. It just irritated my bowels. They also said I had ischemic something in the bowels. I still have to go in for my follow-up appointment in like 3 weeks. So we'll talk more about it. But from what I asked Dr. Google and looked up, from that, what I know or what I've learned is it basically resolves on its own. And so that erosion and ulceration area was most likely where the ischemic bowel was found. I got a letter in the mail. They didn't call me to tell me, so it's nothing super serious. If it was serious, they would have called me. So since it was in a letter, and from what I've read, it should resolve on its own. It's nothing too major, but they want me to come in 3 years for a follow-up colonoscopy. Let's see. Tracy, you didn't use the flavor pack either. You just made sure it was cold. That might be a good idea. I don't remember if I had mine chilled or not. So, definitely, I prefer my drinks cold. So, chilling whatever prep that you have, to me, it's a good idea. It helps it make a little more palatable. So then another question I had was, how did I manage the needing to go to the bathroom once I got to the office for my colonoscopy? So as I'd mentioned in my video, like that evening when I started the first part of the prep, like it just kept going and going. I could not get off of the toilet. And I thought it was never going to end. And then I started having accidents all night. Well, then I had to do the second half of the prep. And I thought, if I've been this much of a mess leading up to this, I can't imagine how horrible I'm going to be after doing this second half of the prep. Well, it turned out that it didn't really seem to do much. So I was already pretty much all cleared out, I suppose. So the urgency did finally ease up. I did wear an adult diaper to the facility to get my colonoscopy in case I did have an accident. And I didn't have any horrible urges. I did kind of feel like I needed to clench my butt shut a little bit just to make sure nothing was leaking for a lot of the time while I was just kind of laying in bed waiting for the GI doc and the anesthesiologist to come in and talk to me and then take me back. But then they wheeled me back to the procedure room, And when I was in there, they were talking to me and they realized that my IV bag was empty and they needed to give me more fluids. So they weren't going to knock me out immediately. So I don't remember if they asked me or if I mentioned, but I said, I kind of have to go to the bathroom. Oh, because we were noting about how all those fluids had gone into me. So I was like, I kind of have to go to the bathroom because of all of that. So there was a bathroom like right across the hall. So they just gave me the IV bag since it was empty and I just had to carry that over with me into the bathroom. And I tried to let whatever out that I needed to. But there wasn't really anything else coming out from the prep. I just had to relieve myself. So it did slow down. And then after that, I got in the bed and I was knocked out. So then it was their problem to deal with if there were any more accidents afterwards. So that was, yeah, things somehow resolved by the time I got to the office and there weren't any more of those horrible, urgent needs to go to the bathroom. Okay, ischemic colitis. Thank you, John. Yeah, I think I probably have that sheet still laying around. Okay, so it was inadequate blood flow to the colon. There's a lot of different things that could cause it. But yeah, it says that it usually resolves itself. From what I was reading, it said it resolves itself within like 2 to 3 days. So by the time I got this letter, it should have resolved itself by then. So I guess it was, my colon just was not happy with the prep this time. So I will just kind of talk to the surgeon afterwards and be like, it was a really rough time. Like, this is not my first go at this colonoscopy prep. And none of them have been this horrible. Can we switch it up a little bit for the next time? So I'll ask. And then who knows, 3 years from now, there could be more preps that have been invented by then that are much easier or different. So who knows what'll happen in 3 years, and there might be something else. When I actually looked up, because I was trying to figure out what that milk of magnesia prep was. So I was looking that up, and there are so many different colonoscopy preps out there. It seems like every surgeon or every GI doc kind of has their own little, their own prep that they like to do. They've got their own little take on it. So I'll just have to, see if she's willing to work with me and try something different for the next time. Blue Omega wants to know, were there any after effects of the prep post-procedure? Let's see, the after effects, as I mentioned, let's see, the colonoscopy was on a Thursday, and what was it? It was at 9:30. I didn't get rolled back until 10:30, but it was scheduled for 9:30. I did not have a bowel movement until 2 o'clock on Saturday. So it cleared me out, and it took that long for everything to kind of make its way back through my system for me to go again. The day after, I had a lot of gas cramps, and just some gas relieving medication helped that. Then as far as digestion and everything, I had mentioned that I was only doing the psyllium husk. I am still only doing, we ran out of the psyllium husk, so I'm back to Metamucil. So I'm just doing 2 teaspoons with about this much water in a juice glass mixed together. So I take that in the morning, and I have switched because the doctor suggested trying to cut back some on wheat and on sugar. To help my bowel heal from the ischemic colitis or from the erosions and ulcerations that were in it. So I switched off of the wheat, and I usually have a burrito at lunchtime that I make at home. So I would usually use whole wheat tortillas, so I just switched to flour tortillas. Then whenever we have pasta, instead of our usual whole grain pasta, we've switched back to just traditional pasta. And so those small changes paired with a full cleansing of the colon and kind of hitting the reset button on it have kept me from needing to take any Imodium. I haven't taken an Imodium since the colonoscopy and the 2-3 days before when I wasn't supposed to be taking anything. So we'll see how much longer this lasts. It's great. I love only having to do like one thing and not having to go through all that Imodium all the time. So I don't know if it just hit the reset button, if just the minor diet change has helped a lot, or it's a combination of all of those. So things are going well though. So I'm happy about that for sure. Let's see. Another question that we had was, what did the propofol feel like going in? And what did the falling asleep and waking back up, what did that feel like? So for my colonoscopy, I was given propofol to help to put me to sleep for the anesthesia. So when she put it in, I watched the anesthesiologist put it into my IV, and like within 10 seconds probably, I was asleep. It basically, I didn't feel like a warm feeling or anything when it was coming in, but it was, I blinked, my eyelids got really heavy, and I was blinking, and I think the blink only half happened, and I ended up falling asleep. When I woke up, I was back in my room, and I was pretty groggy at the beginning. I woke up, but I couldn't keep my eyes open. So the eyelids still feel really heavy. There's lots of like blinking, kind of like falling in and out of consciousness. But that was only for maybe like 5 minutes that I was kind of passing out and coming back to being awake. And then after like that 5 minutes, then I was still tired and was still like blinking my eyes a lot, but I wasn't completely like passing out or going unconscious. So after another 5 minutes, then I was awake enough, and I was trying to get myself to wake up as quickly as I could too, because no one was allowed in the facility because of COVID. So my husband and daughter, because she had the day off of school, they were sitting in the car waiting for me. And I knew that I didn't go back until like an hour after my appointment time. So I knew they had probably been sitting in the car for like 2 hours, and they were ready to, I'm sure they were ready to be done and to get the heck out of there. So I kind of wanted to try and wake myself up so that we could get out of there and we can get back home. So I don't know if that helped with me waking up a little faster or not. And then after like the 10 minutes, then a nurse came in and she asked like if I was ready for my tea and some snacks. I was like, yeah, because I figured like eating a snack and getting some liquids into me would also help with waking me up. And it did. So I think then I just had to wait around for the GI doc to come back around to talk to me about what they found and what happened during the colonoscopy. So it was really easy going in and out. Once I got home, I was kind of groggy and tired, probably because I had a rough night and didn't really get a whole lot of sleep because of the prep. So when I came home, I tried to take a nap, and I laid down in bed for like an hour and a half, and I just couldn't fall asleep. So I don't know if that was a weird side effect from the propofol, or I was just having troubles with sleeping. So I just kind of pushed through the rest of the day after I realized I wasn't falling asleep, and just kind of dealt with that grogginess, and then kind of went to bed at a normal time and slept pretty well that night. Let's see. Tracy, you want to know, am I able to eat beans now? I know, random question. I eat refried beans every day at lunch in the burrito that I mentioned that I eat. I made a shepherd's pie 3 days ago. We had it for like 3 days in a row. We're vegetarian, so it had the mashed potatoes on top. The underneath part, it was lentils and then a bag of frozen mixed veggies. that had been mixed in there. So the veggies, it was corn, carrots, peas, and I think there was probably one green bean in the entire bag cut up into little bits that was in there. So I ate that 3 days in a row, and I didn't have any problems until earlier today. So it took like 3 days in a row of eating lentils for me to finally see those lentils coming out of me. But even so, it was just like one longish episode on the toilet, and that's been it. I haven't had to go a ton of times, so beans are okay right now. We'll see if that continues or not, but I'm kind of hopeful that things maybe are doing much better now. Maybe after that traumatizing experience, my colon was like, okay, I'll behave. Don't do that to me again for a really long time. And now it's being a little better about digesting my food. I don't know. Okay, so then Blue Omega in the UK, I think they mostly give a light sedation where you're semi-conscious. Oh, enough to watch the camera feed. Wonder why it's different in the US. I have heard that people have been given the option, if they want to be under like that light sedation. And I don't know if I know, okay, back in like 2000 on the Today Show, one of the morning shows here in the US, one of the hosts, Katie Couric, her husband died of colon cancer, and he was in his 40s. So as a awareness campaign, she did a colonoscopy live on the air, and she was not fully she wasn't out. She was still awake partially for it. So I know they do it here. My dad actually was given the option for one of his colonoscopies if he wanted to be awake or not, and he was like, no, put me out. And I'm not sure, like, I think it would be interesting to see like what is happening, and I'm guessing you probably don't feel anything, so it wouldn't be painful. But seeing as how like traumatized my intestines were from the prep, I think if I was awake for this one, I would have been paranoid about just like completely like messing all over the GI doc with the camera. And so I'm glad most of the time that I'm out. Maybe a video. I'd be interested in maybe watching the video and not just seeing pictures to just kind of see how it goes. But yeah, it's weird how, different countries, they have their own ways of doing the same procedure. So I'm not sure why. Maybe the US healthcare system, they just want to make more money off the procedures, and they can get more money by knocking you completely out instead of partially out. I don't know. So we'll see. Let's see. For anybody that is newly joining us, my name is Jelena, and I was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer in May of 2016. In this live stream, I'm answering all your questions that you have about preparing for and getting a colonoscopy. So if you've got any questions at all, go on ahead and drop them into the chat, and I will answer them for you. Let's see here. I think you're looking forward to eating more fiber. I know it is exciting to be able to eat more fiber once that actually happens. So hopefully that'll happen for you soon here. Let's see how another question. How the diets and everything were. So I kind of went over how my diet and my medications have changed. My hat is sliding off a little bit here. Post-colonoscopy. So we kind of answered that. I mentioned that I've done multiple colonoscopies, and I kind of briefly talked about what those different preps were that I had to do. But I can talk a little bit more about more details of what exactly those preps were. So like for my first colonoscopy, I mentioned it was the Miralax and Gatorade plus magnesium citrate prep. So my procedure, it was at 1 p.m., which was horrible because you're up all day starving. So always try and get your colonoscopy in the morning if possible. So for that prep, my instructions were no fruits or veggies 2 days before, no eating the day before. So that day before the procedure, I took 2 stool softener pills at noon, which was basically 24 hours ahead. At 6 p.m., I drank 2 glasses of clear liquid, the 10-ounce bottle of magnesium citrate, and then 2 more glasses of clear liquid. I was so bloated after that. Oh my gosh, that was so much to drink within a short period of time. I was pretty uncomfortable after that bit. Then I didn't have to do anything else until 5 a.m., the morning of the procedure. So at 5 a.m., I had to drink 8 ounces every 15 minutes of the Miralax and Gatorade mixture. So for that, I just had to get the 14-day supply of Miralax, so the same jug that I took this past time. But I only did 64 ounces of Gatorade, so I took that entire thing of Miralax at once, not spread out over 2 different doses. So I don't know if that itself makes a huge difference in how the prep goes. For the Go Lightly prep, my procedure, it was at 10:30 a.m. So there was no eating that day before. And I drank 8 ounces every 15 minutes of that jug starting at 4 p.m. the day before until half of the jug was gone. And then at midnight, I had to drink another 8 ounces every 15 minutes until the jug was completely gone. So that one was pretty simple. Only one thing that you have to worry about, other than, of course, not eating the day before. For that tumor marking procedure, when I did the milk of magnesia, the procedure was at 10 a.m. And then I just had on the calendar that at 10 a.m. the day before I took the milk of magnesia. I don't remember how much of it I took. I know it wasn't the entire bottle because I still have that bottle. And then I was allowed to eat, I just had to eat a low residue diet the day before. So I feel like that doesn't sound completely right and I'm missing a few details in there. But that's as much as I could find of information that I had still from when I did that. So then for my LAR surgery, I did the Miralax Gatorade stuff again with no magnesium citrate, mixed the 64 ounces with the 14-day supply, and did that. For my 1-year follow-up colonoscopy, I did the Suprep prep. That one, it is a prescription prep, kind of like the Go Lightly, but it's in 2 bottles. So the bottles, I forget how large they are. They are not huge. They might only be like 8 ounces. So you take one, you drink, you don't have to mix it with anything, I don't think. And they give you a cup, so you don't have to drink it straight out of the bottle. And you have to drink the one sometime the day before. And then I did the next one in the middle of the night. Let's see. So the procedure was at 10:30 a.m. Maybe at like 4 in the morning. I know it was dark when I was drinking that second one. So the Suprep, it tastes kind of like cough syrup to me. And so for the first bottle, it was okay. I was like, all right, it's not bad. I mean, I can chug down cough syrup. It's not tasty, but it's not horrible. Then when I had to wake up in the middle of the night to do the other bottle, my body wanted nothing to do with that bottle. It was a struggle to try and drink it. I got nauseous pretty quickly just sipping it. And that prep, it did make me throw up. So I made it, I think, like halfway through the bottle, and then it all came up. So I only got half of it down, but then it came back up. So when I got in to the colonoscopy to do it, they just kind of ask, they just want to know, have you been passing clear liquids out your butt? Or like, has it been fairly clear? So I said, yeah, it's been clear. Like, so even if you don't get it all down, I think they have you drink more than you need so that if you do struggle finishing it or you throw some of it up, then you've got enough in you that you're most likely cleared out, and starving for that day or two before was not for nothing. And then this past colonoscopy, as you saw, I did the Miralax and Gatorade prep again, except I had to do 64 ounces with that jug of half a jug of Miralax and then another 64 ounces with another jug. So those are the descriptions of the different types of preps that I have done. And that's a lot of the different ones. I know there's other ones that have the small bottle still. I think they're trying to move towards doing more of the small bottles so that you're not drinking as much. And this just got stronger amounts of laxative in it, I guess, to get you to go to the bathroom. Okay. So, any other questions? Let's say Blue Omega wants to know, do they provide any recording of the procedure to you, or do you just get the paperwork back? No, you don't get any kind of footage of the colonoscopy itself. They do take pictures, so there are pictures that they gave you in the paperwork. They're probably like a dozen different pictures from points all throughout your colon. So they show you, hey, your colon is squeaky clean over here. It looks good over here. It's a little weird looking. This is fine. And this, so you do get to see some of the pictures. You just don't get to see the live footage, at least at any of the places that I've gone to get my colonoscopy. Maybe some doctors' offices do offer a video version. I don't know. So, yeah. Oh, and you like my pumpkin. Thank you. My pumpkin back there, it's one of those fake pumpkins that you carve once and then you can put it out every year. So, we do have a pumpkin that's outside that's waiting to be carved. I didn't want to carve it too early and have it rot. And then it got really cold. So hopefully it's not mush when we carve it. All right, so let's see. Does anybody have any other questions that we've got here? Trying to think if there's anything else that I can think of that are important things to talk about pertaining to the colonoscopy, recovery, and all of that. Let's see. Well, like I mentioned, after you wake up from the colonoscopy, since you've had some heavy narcotics put into you to sedate you for the procedure, you do have to have somebody drive you home. You aren't allowed to catch a taxi, a bus, any other kind of drive service where you request a car on your phone. None of that is allowed. You have to have somebody that knows you take you and then bring you home from the procedure, because even though you're awake when you're leaving the office, you're still I still felt a little under the influence. I definitely would not have wanted to drive home. Your reaction time is not as good. And some people, depending on how you wake up from your anesthesia, riding a bus may not be a good idea. You'll fall asleep and forget where your stop is, and then you get to the end of the line, or you don't know how to pay somebody when you're in a taxi or other drive service. So make sure that you've got somebody. It doesn't have to be somebody in your household. It can be a friend, a daughter, parent, anybody can do the driving, just as long as you have somebody that's driving you. So there's that. And let's see. I'm trying to think what other stuff, anything else, any other questions? Let's see, Blue Omega, you haven't had a colonoscopy at all before, have you? I think you're the only one hanging out in the chat that hasn't mentioned whether or not you have or not. Oh, unless the thumbs up means you did get a colonoscopy. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? What other stuff happened during the colonoscopy? That was fun. So this colonoscopy was the first one that I ever had to wear the adult diapers for. Okay, so you've never had them. I think having some handy, just in case, would probably be a good idea, because I did try even using a pad for one of the first times after maybe like the first accident. I tried a pad, and there was just too much liquid for that pad. It did not work. So having the adult diapers on hand was very helpful. I had them stored though because there's tons of stuff under my sink in our bathroom. So it was in my daughter's bedroom in the sink in there, or underneath the sink in there. So I had to bust into her room at like 3 in the morning, and she wakes up all startled and is like, "What's going on, Mom?" I'm like, "I'm just getting a diaper. I'm just getting my diapers. Go back to sleep. Don't worry about me." And I just reached in underneath there, grabbed them, and I'm really glad that I still had those handy, and that I decided I am not above wearing one of these and put it on. Because then that managed to catch everything afterwards, and I didn't have to change my pants anymore after that. Yes, and my husband John has been trying to get a sympathy colonoscopy, but he doesn't have any symptoms, thank goodness. So he has not been in. They did give him one of the fit tests. So I don't know if any of you have ever heard of one of those before. So if you're not a high-risk person and you're due for a colonoscopy, but you haven't had any symptoms, you don't have any family history, then you can do what's called a fit test. And there is Cologuard test is another one, which is very similar. So these are tests that you can do at home, and you don't have to go through the colon prep. So it actually basically is giving a stool sample. So in the kit, it has like some tissue paper that you put down like between the seat and the bowl, and you have your bowel movement on the paper, and they have a little swab thingy. Actually, he got one to bring home. So let me grab it because I have it right in here. Okay, so in this kit, so it's just a little envelope, and this is the envelope itself that you're returning the sample in. So it's a harder kind of envelope here. So there is, okay. That's just a small little thing. Oh, here we go. Here is the tissue paper. So this gets laid out in between the seat. And then there is this cute little thing. So in here, ooh, you open it and there's a little liquid in there. So it's not quite like a little like Christmas tree that you'd use to clean your teeth out. Let me bring it up here and see if the camera will focus on it. And let me put this here. We'll put this behind it so that you can kind of see it a little better and maybe see the details of it. So there's a little bit of like ribbing on this thing. And so you poop on the paper and then you swirl this around in your sample. And then you stick it back in here. And you stick it in the envelope, and you have to drop it off at the lab. You're not allowed to send poop in the mail. So you take this in the lab, and this basically, it tests to see if there's any blood in your stool. It may check other things as well, but it primarily is checking for the blood in your stool. And if that does come back that there is blood, then they will refer you for a colonoscopy for further investigation to see why the bleeding is happening. So if it comes back fine, though, then, hey, you're in the clear. You don't have to go back in for another 10 years to do another test like that. Oh, and it also, I guess you get to put it in this fun little biohazard baggie, too. So you put it in the biohazard baggie and put that in the envelope here. And you take it to the lab, and then the lab takes care of processing it. So that's one of the options. If you're not high risk and you're 45, the age now has been lowered to 45 is when it's recommended that you go in for your first colonoscopy. So if you're low risk, ask your doctor if you'd be eligible for the FIT test, the Cologuard test, and that is way easier than doing the traditional colonoscopy prep. But even if you do have to go in and get the colonoscopy prep, after doing the FIT test, if it does come back positive, just because it does come back positive, it doesn't mean that you have cancer. Your colonoscopy could find something else is the cause of the traces of blood that are in your stool. There are other things that could be happening in your intestines, and it's not cancer. But that test will let the doctors know that, yeah, we need to investigate a little further. We're going to have to go in and actually take a look at what's going on in there. So that is one of the nice options for those of you that are low risk to do. Let's see here. And Stay Golf 83 in the UK, you send it back in the mail. That's very interesting. Yeah, in the US, it does not. You are not allowed to send them in the mail. But yeah, okay. I won't make any comments about the Postal Service right now. I'm sure they don't want to deal with it. I guess if you don't know what's in it, then it's good incentive for the mailman to not open up any packages looking for gifts and prizes. You might end up with somebody's stool sample. Let's see. Isn't blood more of a late stage cancer, or is it present in stage 1? It depends on the characteristics of the tumor. There could be blood present even in the early stages. So it's not necessarily a late stage thing. It's not going to be obvious, most likely, if it's an early stage, but you'll see typically there's more blood. The larger the tumor is, then the more irritated it's going to get, and you're going to see it much more easily. When the tumor is smaller, you may not see it, but there will be a little bit of blood. I suppose, like, if you took that tissue paper and, like, smeared your stool on it, you might be able to see a little bit of blood in there. But so that's how that works. And I think that's about all the questions that we've got for today. Thank you guys for all your excellent questions. That's all the time I've got for today. So for anybody that's new here, make sure that you've clicked on the subscribe button down below so that you will be notified when all my future videos are posted. And so happy that you guys could all join me for this festive Halloween live stream. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys again later. Bye.